press the right combination of buttons, we're going to get this thing right.
Yep.
Kind of like the car wash. If you press the right combination, you just might get a clean car. Hey everybody, welcome to the Arcadian Services booth. We are sitting on the show floor here in Las Vegas. We're going to be doing some customer conversations today. We're super excited for this first one. We're going to be talking about Reclaim. My name is Matt DeWolf. I run and operate MK Quinn Media, which is a content strategy and creation firm, but most of the time I'm here and I'm doing podcast episodes. So my podcast for everybody watching and out there is Better Car Washing Everywhere, because why would you not want to have a better car wash? But I digress. We are going to talk today about Reclaim. Let's go. Let's get into it. So we've got three very smart people here with me who are going to share their stories a little bit. Reclaiming water, right? It's been a major part of operations for car washes in the last couple of decades, right? It's been increasingly more important because guess what? Water's not getting cheaper, and the more we can kind of maximize our reuse of that thing, the better. So there are some challenges with that though, right? It's not the easiest thing in the world, and we have to deal with some of that. So these folks are going to help me deal with it. We've got, right next to me, we've got AJ from Vancouver, right?
Yep.
Use your microphone.
AJ from Vancouver, Canada.
We've got Prentice. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Prentice.
Prentice Hubbell, Jebel AutoWash, Jebel, Colorado.
Perfect. And then right down the end, we've got
Jimmy Suds from Denver, Colorado.
Excellent. Okay, so we're going to go right back down the line, coming back my way. I just kind of want to get the brief version of how you got into this industry. So Jimmy, go ahead and kick us off.
I got started about 6 years ago. I had a good friend of mine was in the business, and I visited his wash and said, "This is a fun business. Looks pretty easy." Boy, was I wrong.
Famous last words.
But I found my own wash, and we started it just about 6 years ago.
Awesome. How about you, Prentice?
Oh, well, I was an aircraft mechanic for 30 years, worked on private jets in Aspen, flew all over the world, working on Falcons and Gulfstreams, and then changed over to the car wash business. Been 4 years now, and we're happy with it.
So far, so
It's
good.
A lot of work.
It is
a lot more work than we thought going in.
Yeah. Huh. That's weird. Both of you guys had that reaction. Huh. AJ, how about you?
So I started in the industry 7.5 years ago. Originally I got laid off in the medical field industry.
Okay.
And I never thought I would work in the car wash. And 7.5 years later, I'm still in the industry, and honestly, I'm just getting started.
I love that. So why don't we give everybody a little bit of a taste for the kind of operations you all are running? So AJ, what's your kind of mix of washes?
So we have 4 express tunnels. One that's 3 hours away from the city, so northern sort of climate in the winter, where it gets snowy and crazy temperatures. And then we have 3 in the city, which are now we're getting into peak busy summer season.
Okay, nice.
Yes.
Prentice, what's your mix?
I've got 2 Pettit in-bay automatics, and yeah, they work great.
Champions of the car wash industry, right? Yeah.
We're a single express location, 135-foot tunnel. We were a rehab.
Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about the challenges that you all face, because the Reclaim challenges aren't super different depending on whether you're a tunnel or an in-bay, because you're kind of doing the same thing. You're trying to capture that water. You're still using the chemistry. Talk a little bit about how you all are using Reclaim today, just in your washes, and maybe we'll start back down the end with Jimmy.
Well, we're using Reclaim on all of our front high-pressure rinse, try and knock the dirt off before it goes into the brushes.
Okay. How about you, Prentice?
We're using it inside of the Pettit pumps, the high-pressure pumps that Pettit is known for.
Yeah. They love water.
They love water, and so we just use it there. No other place.
How about you, AJ?
Same thing as Jimmy said. So it's all for a high pressure rinse before the car's going through the tunnel.
Yep.
And then we're also using it on our fire hoses to clean the tunnel and wash the tunnel down at the end of the night.
Nice. I love that. So you don't have to blow through your water bill with all that fresh. Tell me a little bit about, as you've kind of worked with these systems, and I think that you guys all have different systems in terms of what you're operating with. But talk to me about some of the challenges that you faced, and we'll start here with AJ.
So, for us, due to the climate changes that we have, especially in the city of Vancouver, it's similar to Seattle where it's depressing rain most of the time.
Yeah.
So the seasons switch up pretty quickly, and then we get into summer. On the slower days, especially with reclaim, as you know, that smell comes and you're like, what is that? And I remember the first time smelling it and having a customer go through and they're like, man, I felt dizzy through your car wash. So I was like, we got to do something about this, and we were searching for solutions. So that's kind of the day-to-day problems that we had and noticed initially, and decided we need to do something about it.
Yeah, so smell, and more smell.
Yeah.
Same thing?
Yeah, same thing. Car would come through, and unfortunately the water sits inside of the plenum for the heater and the air conditioner. So even as they were driving away, they were still smelling our car wash, and that's never a good thing.
In the worst way possible, right? Yeah, I mean, that's one of those things, it's like, you want to try to appeal to all the senses, but you don't want that way. You don't want that way, because they're going to go home and they're going to say, you know what? We're never going back to that wash, right? We're never going back. Jimmy, how about you? What are you running into?
I'm sorry?
What problems are you running into?
For us, it was a combination of odor control and reliability of the technology to keep the odor out. And we started out using this to just control odor. We've now removed all of our ozone systems. And what started to just reduce odor is now turned into we're using more and more of that water, because our water is almost clean now, where it used to be completely black.
So say more about that. So tell everybody the system you had and that investment you made, and then what you've been able to do.
Well, we started out with the highest end of the Pure Clean reclaim treatment systems, running ozone with hydrogen peroxide to control odor. Ozone and peroxide's been removed. We've actually downsized the Pure Clean system, and we're now getting more output, gallons a minute out of the smaller system with Reclaim Defender. We're not cleaning our strainer nearly as much and finding much less sediment, and it's turned into additional benefits that I was never even expecting.
Yeah.
Number one, we're not cleaning our tanks like we used to. We used to clean them quarterly. We came in mid-cycle with Reclaim Defender. We think we're going to end up, the first one was a little over 6 months, and we think we're going to end up around 8 or 9 months between tank cleanouts.
Wow.
The reduction in sludge is just stunning, and that wasn't the primary reason we brought it in.
I mean, that's a major benefit. I mean, that frees up so much time for your people and for you to be doing other things and like working on the business instead of cleaning out the tank.
Absolutely. The cost savings just in that area has more than paid for the product I put in to control the odor.
I love it. I love it.
We're seeing the same thing. The Reclaim Defender's eating the anaerobic bugs at the bottom of our tanks. We are only cleaning our tanks about once a year now.
Really?
We were one of the first ones using Reclaim Defender, so might be a little bit ahead with our bugs in our tanks. But no smell and less pump outs for the black sludge that we all have in the bottom of our tanks.
Yeah. Well, and talk to me, like, how much were you cleaning before? Like, how frequently did you have
We were cleaning once a quarter.
Once a quarter, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so
and that was minimum. Yeah. Now, of course, we're pumping out all of the grit traps that we have in our bays. That hasn't changed. We're doing that about once a month. But the pits where the lazy river, shall we say, before it goes back into the wash, about once a year now.
Okay, nice. So I think if you're doing math, I think that's a 75% reduction. I think that's, for those of you out there that maybe do math better than me, I don't know. AJ.
So I would definitely say the same. For our cities, like for Vancouver, yes, we've been able to reduce our tank pumps once every 6 months, because we still get a bunch of leaf debris and stuff that makes its way through the system that we still want to keep clean.
Yep.
But from as soon as when we used to notice the smell starting, it was like, okay, we got to get ready for a tank pump now to get all this out. Which, since we've been using the Reclaim Defender, it's done an amazing job for us.
Well, and the challenge with that is then now you're using more fresh, right? While you're trying to get that thing going again, and so money. There we go. talk a little bit about the benefits of like what that does for the water quality, right? And so how does that help, right? So you've got cleaner, better reclaimed water. What's that enable you to do?
So from that perspective, what we've done is we feed reclaimed water onto our wraps.
Yeah.
We're able to do that, and we've saved the water consumption that we've been using. Originally, when we were first using the wash, we were roughly using about 50 GPM of fresh water per wash. We're now down to like 31, 32.
Wow.
So it's helped us in that reduction because obviously in Vancouver, especially in Canada now, the cost of water is astronomical, especially with a big city like Vancouver.
Yeah, yeah. Prentice, how about you? Like, are you exploring other kind of options with knowing that your reclaimed water is coming out better?
Not really. Because we only use it in the one place in our wash, and it's the only place that we can really use it. So it's not really an option for us to use it in the chemistry side of the wash. We can only use it inside of our high pressure pumps.
Gotcha. How about you, Jimmy? Are you exploring other stuff?
For us, after we put Reclaim Defender in, our water is down about 15%. We're finding our freshwater overload is not coming on as much. But the major change is about to happen this week. We're actually going to be putting our Reclaim through our chemical board for about half of our products. I never believed that was even going to be possible.
Yeah.
I've investigated, I've seen other car washes using the product doing it, and I'm expecting to get down to almost 50% of water usage, fresh water usage.
Jeez. That's an incredible savings. I'm with you. I don't know that I ever could have thought you'd be able to take reclaimed water and actually use it in your chemical application. Like, it just doesn't seem to make sense.
This all started with someone sending me a picture of reclaimed water being held up in a beaker that they said that they were running through the entire board, and I basically said, there's no way. There's absolutely no way, and I don't believe you.
Yeah.
So I decided, my real problem at the time was odor. I said, well, come on in, I'll get started small. And, it's delivered that plus. And now I wish this was a week from now, because I've seen it in action on chemical boards, and our water's now clean enough. We started out with black, you couldn't see through the water.
Yeah.
We can now see through our water, which is just stunning.
Yeah, that's incredible. That's incredible. Well, we are sitting in the Arcadian Services booth, so we do need to do a little bit of a shameless plug here. These are all Arcadian Services customers. They are using the Reclaim Defender product. That's our shameless plug. That's all you have to endure for that. I want to talk real quick. I just want to know, I like to leave people with like one thing, right? One piece of advice, one easy thing. Because when people come to these shows, right, they're coming to get an idea. You all are car wash professionals now, but there was a time when you were not, when you thought it was going to be so easy and you were just going to be making money hand over fist. So, knowing what you know now, what would you tell yourself, one piece of advice you'd tell yourself back before you got into this industry as you're about to endeavor? So, you can think for a minute about it. If you know, go ahead and go.
For me, in terms of the investment, I believe I spent about $60,000, maybe $70,000 on reclaim systems. I didn't rip that product out. I've already paid for it. If I had to do it over again, I could have done this product with about $10,000 or $15,000 in equipment. There's no other product in my wash that I think I could take out and replace it with something this less expensive that also gives me the benefit of removing a major headache, like Reclaim.
Piece of advice. What do you got, Prentice?
Find a real good chemistry company, one that'll help you out and get you through the tough times.
Easy.
For me, I'll say not the same shoe fits for everybody, in the sense that everybody is different. And when I first joined this industry, I thought there's only one company tailored to one solution for everything. I think you have to open your eyes out there and really get an understanding of what's going on. I met Clip now probably 5 or 6 years ago, and that relationship alone, the trust and the partnership that's there, and I know that if, as you said and alluded to, is the relationship matters, that if anything does go wrong, that person's going to be there for you. And I mean, we tried his product 5 years ago. I was like, I'm not sure if it's right, and now we're trying other things because it's based on the relationship. And I believe that this industry is changing with all the private equity groups and everything coming in. The one thing I say I will not forget, and I've learned from the old guard, is keep the relationships, because those matter more than anything. And I'm not going to change that ethos about me or my company or any of my team. Keep those relationships, and that's what builds trust and ongoing trust and relationships in the future.
Yeah, the relationship piece is huge, and you have to. I mean, we spend so much of our time working. We might as well do work with people we like, right? I mean, come on. If there are any questions from anybody, we do have a couple of minutes to answer questions. We'll just give it a minute because sometimes people have them. The last thing, so because we're sitting in this booth, I would like to know a little bit about your path to Arcadian. I want to know kind of how you found Arcadian Services in the first place and what brought you there. So let's start right here, AJ. How did that kind of connection happen?
I randomly stumbled into Kip a few years ago in the show, and we were just talking on the booth about product, and he shared a passion for the industry, and we continued that relationship. And LinkedIn, we've stayed in contact over the years, and I think we've become good friends and someone that I know that I can turn to for sure. Actually, truly, he's a mentor. That's the honest truth.
He's your old guard.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, Kip.
Well, I had Brand X, and we were not able to clean cars. So I was introduced to Michael Gordon, and Mike came up, and I think he spent close to 2 months before we finally found the right combination of chemistry. I think the chemists back at the shop were also working on different things that we were trying, and we were throwing everything but the kitchen sink at it. Finally figured out what we could put on cars to clean them in the mountains of Colorado.
Yeah, so it's fun that the business does get easier when you're producing a clean car. Yeah.
For me, it was another distributor in the industry. Was familiar with his products. Mike Gordon at Arcadian, and said, Jim, this is something you really need to look at. You've got a challenge there, and these guys are doing some amazing things. And he had told me about some work being done in California, which has even higher water challenges in terms of conservation than we do in Colorado. So that's how I found them.
Love it. I just want to say thank you for spending some time with us here and sharing a little bit of your story. I think this is the way that we all learn, right? It's telling stories, sharing with each other. And I think that that's always been what's made this industry so special, is that people like you are willing to come up here and to talk about the challenges you had and how you solved them. So thank you for joining me today. These guys are going to be around. Make sure you make that connection, build that relationship. Stay tuned if you are streaming us, if you're watching us, because we're going to do a little bit of a demo here in a minute. But we got to go dark to set up for that. So hold tight. We'll be right back.